Hi guys, so welcome back to my page Pageant Hub. I'm here now with Miss Philippines Earth Mandaluyong 2020, Gianna Lianes.
Hello! Yay, may palakpak pa. Thank you, thank you,
So,
thank you. How are
well,
you today?
I am good. I am trying to be good, even though I
Oh,
have a bad work day full of
mm,
meetings. I
yeah,
came from a meeting. Oh yeah. So first things first. Before you joined Miss Philippines Earth, you have your Miss World Philippines, tama ba?
yes, I
You
did.
did. So, what are your ano pala? What was your advocacy back then? Was it concentrating about mental health?
Yes. Well, before we begin, I want to say thank you, Mitch, for inviting me to this. I remember that you and I really connected because of this topic about mental health. When you asked me before if I have off days, I remember you asked me that on my Instagram, and um,
Yeah.
a lot of people say that's such a taboo topic. So the fact that you are bringing it out in the pageant world, that it is important that we talk about this, I really admire that. So thank you for having me come here and talk to you. During Miss World Philippines 2018, my advocacy was body positivity among young women in the Philippines. And the reason that I focused on that does stem because of mental health. So that was my senior thesis topic in Ateneo. And my thesis partner and I made a zine. So it was like a magazine of stories about different women across the Philippines, high school and university levels, talking about their own journeys in accepting their physical appearances, whether it be stretch marks, their weight, their height. And the reason why we focused on that as our senior thesis topic is really because we found through our research that body positivity, or I guess body dissatisfaction more so here in the Philippines, stems from influence of your loved ones. So in the States kasi, a lot of the body disorders there are because of what they see in the media. But here in the Philippines, it's really because your relatives saying na, hoy, tumaba ka, or your relatives saying na, parang sobrang payat mo naman, hindi ka mukhang healthy. And, these people we love and we really respect and admire their opinions. So when they say these things to us, it really gets to us. And that's why it does cause so much depression and anxiety. And even further, during my Miss Mandaluyong 2019, my top 15 question was, what would you say to overweight women who are going through depression and anxiety because of bullying about their physical appearance? And I remember that I ended that saying that in Mandaluyong kasi, we have a very body positive pageant. It's Bilbiling Mandaluyong. It's really for overweight women to showcase that they are talented, that they are smart as well. And I use that an example saying that those women don't really care what other people think about them. They know their own self-worth. And I think that's a topic that needs to be discussed. And now we're talking about it in a more broad sense, saying that it's not just limited to women. It's not just limited to body positivity. Men also go through depression and anxiety because of their own dissatisfaction of the way that they look like. Both women and men are going through mental health disorders, especially now during the coronavirus pandemic. So many it stems from so many problems. So I think that it really mental health in general has been a huge advocacy for mine since my pageant journey.
So for Miss Philippines Earth, hindi siya kasama sa advocacy mo, 'di ba? Or parang naging disaster awareness talks. Tama?
Yes, well, actually, yun nga, yung advocacy ko is natural disaster risk reduction through education.
Ayun.
Yes, pero I was able to go to different schools in Mandaluyong bago nag-umpisa yung enhanced community quarantine. And yung isang point ko in my presentation is really saying that, yun nga, I just, like I said, mental health, I guess mental health issues comes from so many problems. It stems from so many problems, and one of them might be going through natural disasters. I said, let's say nawala yung bahay mo because of a fire, or you're going through health issues because of because of a volcanic eruption, and you're a little bit depressed about that, you're getting anxiety, you also need to know that your feelings are valid. And thankfully, the National Mental Health Institute here in the Philippines has opened their hotlines for that, right? So hindi lang pertaining to your personal problems, it might have been a natural disaster and you feel affected by it. So that's a point that I want to highlight as well. And papag-usapan ko rin yon during the talent competition this Monday.
So, wag masyadong baka
No,
mamaya
we can.
So, I'll remove you first from the frame and I will bring in JP naman.
Okay.
Hi JP, good evening.
Good evening.
So,
What? How are you?
JP is the man of the world fourth runner-up for 2019.
2019. Yes.
So, babe, question, have you started with the mental health advocacy before you joined Misters of Filipinas?
Yep, that's right. That was actually the foundation. That was the very reason why I wanted to venture into pageantry, because I felt like that was the best avenue to talk about mental health. That was like my platform, my stepping stone for me, so that I'm able to put forth the cause. So even before Misters of Filipinas, there was already the cause. It was already the advocacy and the belief that I needed to bring this up to let people talk about this, so that we'd be able to help one another. Still there?
Okay. So, during your reign, how was it naman? How was it?
Oh, well, when it comes to my advocacy and the causes that I've been actively participating in, both social and civic, I was not really so exclusive with just mental health, because I was also uh, addressing concerns with youth empowerment and education, which is also one of the values that Man of the World and Mr. of the Philippines is upholding. So I also made sure that I'm holistically prepared in all of those things, that also at the same time I'm able to incorporate these things like mental health and education and youth empowerment, because teenagers nowadays, or like in general, people are just so afraid to talk about mental health. So when you educate them about the fundamentals, when you give them ideas on certain things that would help them, that is already educating them in a way. So I want to empower them to speak their minds, to voice out their concerns, whatever they may be, because sometimes, or most often than not, the causes of mental health issues or the causes of mental health problems come from not being able to express what you truly have inside you, and that just bottles up into something that's going to get worse in the future. So I was able to go to foundations such as Cribs Foundation, which is a safe house for vulnerable girls. So these girls are like displaced because they were victims of sexual abuse and all that. So that was also one of the greatest places for me to talk about mental health and speak to them about strength, to speak to them about hope. Because in these children, in these people, they're the most vulnerable. So they're the ones that's easily distraught. They're the ones that's easily affected and depressed. So when you're able to reach out to these people, you're going to be able to save a life. And also, I was able to reach out to the National Children's Hospital, which was focusing, or I actually focused on children with cancer, leukemia, and all that. So same thing. Like aside from empowering them, I made sure that they're not only strong in their hearts, but also they have to be strong in their minds. Because in like a sudden snap, everything can go wrong when you don't know how to handle things. And I'm not saying that you always have to handle things, but what I'm trying to say is that there are times that when you feel like you're going downward spiral. So these are the times when you have
Parang
to remember
parang ako lang kanina. Parang ako lang kanina, no?
Yeah, ganon.
Alam mo,
So you remind them.
parang ako lang kanina magla-live na nga lang tayo, nagda-downward spiral pa ako ba.
You're
Okay, so
perfect example.
I will remove you from the frame and I will introduce my third guest.
Okay, see you later.
See you later. Hi! We have here Ginoong Pilipinas first runner-up, John Michael Suelo. Hi, JM.
Hello, Ma'am Mitch. Kamusta po?
I'm good. So,
Good evening po sa lahat ng
good,
viewers natin.
good evening. So, can you talk about naman your mental health advocacy before Ginoong Pilipinas?
Right, so I actually started 2 years ago before I joined Ginoong Pilipinas because I joined Ginoong Pilipinas just last year, 2019. So 2 years ago, I was the president of the entire university, the Central Philippine University. And then there was one conference that I attended, which is actually the National Convention of the Association of Law Students of the Philippines. And there were students who were raising concerns on the mental health of law students. And then when I went back to Central Philippine University, I realized when I went to the Guidance Services Center, this is also the same issue that most students are facing right now. And I realized that most students and most of us do not really pay attention to the mental health of the law students because the academic pressure is there, family pressure, socioeconomic factors are there. So what I did was I organized Pag-Amliganay, which is actually the first Iloilo Mental Health Summit. So we are aiming to bring mental health advocates, professionals, and organizations together in one big event. So it was attended by the different universities in Iloilo, and it was attended by around 2,000 participants. So that was big enough. What we did was we really raise awareness, educate the students, educate the participants that that there's already a mental health law that exists, no, in the Philippines, and what we want to do is that we need to educate to educate everyone that kasi yung usual na stigma, pag merong mental health problem, people would dismiss that as nag-iinarte lang, or baka mahina yung faith kay God, or baka kasi yun, nagdadrama lang. Pero this is actually coming from the World Health Organization that every 40 seconds, a life is lost to suicide, and that suicide has become the second most common cause of death among young people aged 15 to 29, and that is very alarming. And according to the Department of Health, actually the suicide cases among men is higher than women. So mas maraming lalaki ang nagpapakamatay. So this is very alarming because every 40 seconds a life is lost to suicide. So I think we really need to raise awareness on mental health, and especially during this pandemic, it is very important that everybody is aware of our mental health. And yun, so after nung sa Central Philippine University, I worked with the Department of Health, Regional Alliance on Mental Health and Autism. And then after that as well, I was elected as the Iloilo team leader of Mental Health PH, a national organization. And then later on founded Man Out Philippines Project, which is actually dedicated for the mental health of our men. Because like I said earlier, mas mataas yung suicide rate of men compared to women. Why is that? Because of the toxic masculinity that exists, no? Kasi yung karamihan na sinasabi, kapag umiyak yung lalaki, minsan there's a stigma na baklayan or he's gay. Pero we fail to realize that men should also cry. Men should also be able to be vulnerable. Men should be able to express his emotions. So, ayun. So, hopefully, tuloy-tuloy to hanggang sa siguro sumali ako sa Ginoong Pilipinas. My aim is to just bring what we have started in the grassroots level, in the local level, and bring it to the national level. And I think that is the purpose. That is why right now, no, I've been doing mental health talks in the past few weeks for the reason and for the purpose to bring awareness to more people. No, mas marami pang tao yung ma-reach natin, the better.
Okay, so I will bring in yung dalawa na. Hello! Yan,
Hello.
apat na tayo.
Hello.
Okay, so this yung questions natin for today is actually going to focus about still yung dahil nasa pageant hub tayo, yung pageant life nyo pa rin.
Mm.
Pero hindi siya masyadong pageant patish. Pero let's start first with how has yung pagsali nyo sa pageant change yung outlook nyo towards your mental health advocacy? I mean, how has it helped? Nung sumali na kayo sa Misters, si JM sa Ginoo, si Gianna, yung una niyang experience. So,
Well,
how
in my
has it
case,
been?
I'd like to start. In my case, it started with an interest, and it started with, passion towards mental health and passion for the advocacy and trying to put that forth and put it forward. So when I already joined the pageant, I was already given the platform. I was already given the space for me to be able to learn more about it, and I'm able to share it to people. So I had to. It expanded in a way that I had to learn more. I talked with doctors, I talked with survivors, I talked with um, teachers and students who are actually focusing on mental health issues and psychological illnesses and all that. So it gave me a better understanding on things. When on the contrary, it only started with an interest, and only started with my experience. So I'm I feel like I'm able to express it further as an ambassador and as a spokesperson for the advocacy because I learned it. I didn't just pick an advocacy and talk about it, but from experience as a survivor myself towards learning how I'm able to deal with certain issues. Because mental health is still a sensitive topic, and you have to address it differently. Parang you have to tailor fit the way you express the advocacy to different kinds of people because they will never understand. Some people are not as receptive as the rest of us. So you know what I mean.
Okay, sino sunod?
I just wanna acknowledge some of the statements that JM actually mentioned. Na dito sa Pilipinas, when you say that you have a mental health illness, immediately sasabihin nila na maarte ka lang, or you have family, why are you so upset?
Or you're privileged. You come from a good
You're privileged, right? Or you shouldn't have anything to be sad about. And I want to revert that now to joining a pageant. People think that beauty queens or male pageant candidates, just people in pageantry in general, do not have mental health issues because they grew up beautiful. They grew up, getting everything that they want. And I was actually talking to you about this, Mitch. Na nung Miss World Philippines, a few people were saying, do not disclose that you have had a past with mental health issues just because people want to look up to you, and they might not look up to you in the same way if they know that you have been going through your own problems. But I think that on a personal level, that has actually challenged more to remove the stigma from mental health. When I was able to generate a conversation about it, so many people were messaging me saying, I am going through the exact same thing, and it is so admirable that you have spoken up about it. I've looked up to you for so long, but the fact that we're going through a similar thing makes me feel like it's okay. And after Miss World Philippines, that's something that really opened my eyes. But now, especially, I'm representing Mandaluyong, and we house the National Center for Mental Health, which is a huge responsibility. Prior to the enhanced community quarantine, I was able to meet up with Mayor Menchi Abalos, and she said, if there is one thing that I would ask you as a representative of our city, please help generate a discussion about mental health, especially to the youth, because she said that there's so many young people nowadays and they want to take their own lives. And, the older generation, she admits, they're still wondering why. So I think that as a pageant candidate, you are given this platform and this voice. And I'm able to now use that platform and that voice to generate a conversation and normalize mental health more, which is wonderful that we're doing something like this for Mental Health Awareness Month because, especially with the coronavirus pandemic, the National Center for Mental Health actually said 85% of the calls they're receiving are from people getting depression and anxiety because of the coronavirus pandemic. And it's so important to say and to state that whoever you are, no matter what your background is, your feelings are valid. And I think that us as pageant candidates have the responsibility to truly say that and normalize that.
And yes, I actually agree with Gianna and JP, and I really appreciate that we have these pageant contestants and winners who have been advocating for mental health. Yes, for me, kasi I really see pageantry as a very influential platform. Most pageant winners really have a lot of following, no, on social media, and I think to be called as a social media influencer, it's great that we use this platform, that we get to use this influence to advocate for something, to advocate for mental health. And tama din yung sinabi kanina ni JP and Gianna talaga na, well, kasi yes, we've seen siguro mga pageant candidates din, no, that are advocating for mental health. But what we need really is someone who can really stand up for the advocacy and who can really articulate what it is all about and to really inspire. Syempre, 'di ba kanina si JP has his experience, personal experience sa mental health, no, issues and problems and challenges. So this will inspire a lot of people to really talk about mental health and
It draws
yun
you toward people to talk
yes,
more.
yes. And also parang we are giving the people the idea na we should not discriminate uh, anyone na nagsasuffer ng mental health problems and challenges because as humans we have to be kind, we have to be understanding, we have to be empathetic, we have to put ourselves in the shoe of other people and to really understand them. So I think this is a great platform to really inspire and influence a lot of people to be kind and to be understanding.
Okay, so next question. I've asked this to you, the three of you individually. You answered this to me na. So, if you had this mental health condition and you plan to join a pageant, will you actually disclose that to
To the organization,
people?
to the
Yeah,
people.
no, and organizers, the fans, the people, ano nyo ba?
In my case, I think that was one of the best things that I have done. Because, as I have mentioned earlier, it was the foundation of what I do. My advocacy is the reason why I joined the pageant. So it does not make sense that I do not disclose that. And also, as I have mentioned earlier, my personal experience has drawn me towards people, has drawn me towards the organization as someone who's experienced it, as someone who's so willingly and who's open to talk about and have a conversation when it comes to that. And lastly, the pageant scene nowadays, it does not only focus on the looks or the wit anymore. What's most important is you're being able to relate yourselves towards people. And when you stand up for that, and when you're able to talk about that, and when you acknowledge the fact that mental health is a public health issue, and you're able to talk about the problems in general as so important, and you need to find tangible efforts, then you're able to then you're successful. Kasi nga, when I joined Misters, I was able to disclose that. I declared that, and people are starting to draw towards me, and I felt the validation that I'm actually doing something right. So I don't feel like there's nothing wrong, and we should talk about mental health.
For me, one of the most beautiful things is actually when a person is unafraid to be vulnerable. When someone is, especially I love how you guys mentioned, especially men, in a country where men are supposed to keep their feelings to themselves, or Filipinas who are the head of the household who don't want to cry when they're having a difficult time. But I think when somebody is able to actually show emotion, it's something that I really look up to, and it motivates me that we're all human, we all go through our own issues. I told you this, Mitch, that in Miss World Philippines 2018, I didn't disclose that I had been diagnosed with depression a couple of years ago, just because people were saying they might not think that you are stable enough to endure a
Fit for
pageant.
the job, yeah.
Yeah, there's so many people that are saying that, when in fact it is actually what makes you stronger for a pageant, especially a pageant when where you are scrutinized for every little thing you say, every little thing you do. Going back to your past and how you endured a mental health issue is really what is going to make you stronger and get past all of those issues. I mean, I still message you, Mitch, that sometimes when you hear comments or people doubt you in a pageant world, you really want to get down, you want to give up. But for me right now, my stronghold, the thing I go back to is I have endured so many trials before. This is nothing to me. I got this. And I think that's why it'll be really great to actually disclose, if you're joining a pageant, what you've been through, because that is a part of your history and that's a part of your identity that you shouldn't be ashamed of.
It's actually a
Okay.
story of victory. When you share that to people, people are just gonna appreciate you.
Yes, I agree for sure.
JM.
Okay, so yes, of course, if you have a mental health like problem, it's just and fair that you disclose it to the organizers. Pero kasi in my case, I was advocating for mental health, pero I myself didn't had to go through mental health problems and challenges. So parang yung akin kasi, napunta ako sa mental health advocacy because I see a lot of people who are suffering mental health problems. So ako wala akong personal experience, pero I know how it feels then. Kasi being an only child and coming from a broken family, so most of the time, I'm being alone. So I know how it feels to be alone. I know how it feels na you are undergoing a lot of challenges and problems and difficulties, and you have no one to talk to. So that is why I have always been advocating really um, for for others to really look after one another, to seek help at the same time. If you are suffering from a mental health problems or challenges or difficulties, we should seek help to a psychiatrist. We should not be afraid, no, if there are problems and difficulties, and also to talk to a friend. So yun, if I'll be joining a pageant. Sa mga viewers natin, maybe you would like to join a pageant. Um, it's all right to disclose, no? There's nothing to be afraid of. Right now, since yung topic kasi ng mental health is already sensitized, so meaning yung acceptance level ngayon, at least medyo okay na siya compared dati na wala talaga, na parang kinakaya talaga pag may mental health problem ka. Pero ngayon, at least mas naiintindihan na ng mga Pilipino starting when the mental health law was passed. So, ayun.
Okay,
And
so
saka, syempre may mga mental health advocates tayo na who have been talking about their experiences. So, yung ibang mga tao talagang mas na-appreciate nila ngayon. If you're vocal about yourself, your stories, and yun.
okay, so next question, guys. So I would want you to react to key issues regarding pageants that may affect mental health. So kindly expound lang. My first issue is about cyberbullying. Anyone who would like to start?
Okay. Well, they do say words hurt, words sting. I've been working in front of the camera since I was 17, 18. I was not ready when people saying you don't deserve this, you're not even good, you're not talented. That got to my head. It really did. And I think that, dahil nga tayong mga Pilipino, gusto medyo passive-aggressive tayo. So we think, okay, it's fine, wala yan, wala yan. But it hurts. It hurts. And it's difficult to advise someone to just not read those comments, to disregard those. But for things like that, for words like that, I think it's important to remember that self acceptance is a journey. And when you get to that point where you realize and you're so stable with how much you're worth and you're capable of, words like that will eventually not matter. So if ever you do see a negative comment and think, oh my goodness, that might be true, it's okay. It's okay to question yourself. It's okay to think negatively. That's fine. It's a process. And eventually you'll get there to the point that you can triumph over those words.
Okay, any more?
Um,
Cyberbullying.
well, as someone who tried to revolutionize male pageant, I say that was also one of my, that's one of the reasons or my driving factors. I wanted to revolutionize male pageant because I felt like we also deserve the attention, we also deserve the spotlight, and we also deserve the respect that are given to our female counterparts. So during my time, during my journey, I was receiving backlash and hurtful words and all that. And just like what Gianna said, it's so easy for us to like just brush it off and just focus on the good things. But let's admit it, we're only humans and we feel things. We get disappointed, we get hurt, and at times we just feel like maybe this isn't the right time or the right place for us because the acceptance or the reception from people isn't what we have expected. But then again, what I try to do in order for me to not get these people under my skin is just like what Gianna said earlier. Self acceptance is a journey, and when you are so sure and when you're so confident about how you feel, who you are as a person, and when you just continue to surround yourself with the right people, then these people don't matter, and you don't even have to deal with them. It's not even your responsibility to turn them into fans or turn them into someone who might be who will like you afterwards. But like, just continue to do what you have been doing as long as it's according to your goodwill, as long as it's what you think is right, then you let these people go. You don't have to deal with them at all.
JM?
Siguro sa akin naman, tama yun, no? Because actually, I always believe, no, you cannot really please everyone. So, para sa akin, yung cyber, kasi, eto, I wanna share dun yung personal experience ko. Before I actually joined Ginoong Pilipinas, I also screamed for another pageant. And then, uh, before Ginoong Pilipinas, and my photo was actually posted on the pageant blog pages. Then after that, nakita ko ang daming mga nagbash, ang daming mga hateful words. So parang after noon talagang I really felt bad. I started questioning myself. Pero later on, I realized na why would I please them? Because I also have my own share of people who are supporting me and who are loving me. So I think that's what matters. So at the end of the day naman kasi if I get to realize I'm not doing this for those who are hating me or bashing me, but I'm doing this for myself because I really want to do this. So
Or for the people
siguro
who believe you.
and yes, and for the people who believes in me. So ayun, so I think lang no well, meron na tayong cyberbullying law but we won't go there. Pero siguro advice lang siguro no sa mga viewers din natin na if you are being cyberbullied, know that yes, tama yung sinabi ni JP at ni Gianna kanina na importante you are confident within yourself. Yung self-worth mo, that is what is very important, is important. And yun, for as long as you accept your strengths and weaknesses, and I think, no, hindi naman kasi kailangan nating i-compare yung self natin sa ibang tao because we know for a fact na iba-iba tayo ng strengths, ng weaknesses. So, ayun. So, kung may mga bashers or haters, love them. Minsan, wag mo na pansinin, di ba? Meron namang mga options sa Facebook, di ba? Unfollow, unfriend, block, di ba? Kaysa naman, di ba, you'll suffer with your mental health. So, it's better to block those people kung grabe na talaga sila sa'yo. So, ayun.
Yeah. So if I may add, which is also the reason why pageant title holders or candidates or public figures in general should be given high regard because it's not only about preparing physically, mentally, and all that, but it's also the emotional part that you need to prepare the most because not everyone is going to receive you the same way that you hope. So when it's gonna, when it's gonna come, sometimes you land on your feet, sometimes you just trip over and all that. So that's also one of the greatest preparations that a person should do when he or she plans to join a pageant. So when when you're already there, my I just feel so how do I say this? I just respect pageant title holders or candidates very much because you never know how the journey is for them. You don't know what they're going through. So when it comes to their emotional preparations, that's really one of the things that they need to prepare. Cyberbullying, bashers, and all that. So if I were you, to the people out there who are interested in joining pageants or wanting to be in the limelight in the future, this is one tip. You don't have to worry about your bashers. Just focus on the things that you need to improve on if these things are constructive, and also surround yourself with the positive people. Yun lang.
And siguro to add na rin, no?
Okay.
Kasi, like for example, even Pia Wurtzbach, even Catriona Gray, who are already Miss Universe, di ba, are also being bashed. So,
It happens
what
to
more?
everyone.
And, ayun, so, I think it's just normal. Parang normal na lang na mabash ka, pero it's not really on how other people would, kumbaga, you don't focus on the things that you can control, but you can focus on what you can control, which is on how you react with your bashers. And the best thing is to just ignore. And if that criticism would help you, so well, improve yourself and learn from it. But if it's not helpful to you, just ignore it and just let it go.
I also want to add
Okay,
too that
so
to everybody's sorry, that is watching right now, if ever you do think about posting something negative, or even if you think like if you have a second thought, is what I'm commenting okay? Is this like a compliment or an insult? Just don't post it if you feel like it could hurt somebody, because it does affect people, and you do not want to play a part in that.
Yeah.
As JM said, let's just be kind to everybody. It's not that difficult. And if you are a receiver of bashers, don't pass it on and pass on the hate to someone else just to make yourself feel good, especially because here in the Philippines the crab mentality is just so common. Don't be a part of that as well.
somehow connected siguro, ewan ko si JP kung na-experience niya. Pero have you guys experienced on body shaming during your pageants?
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
Eh, let's start naman with unahin ko na si JM. Body
Body
shaming.
shaming. Oo naman. Actually, like a month before before yung pageant proper or yung pre-pageant activities, I was actually very fat and nasa 180 pounds. So I have to really lose weight fast. I was able to make it, pero syempre hindi ako as fit as the other contestants talaga. So yes, it's part na body shame ka kasi wala akong abs, wala akong ganun. Pero binawi ko sa ibang sa ibang aspect naman. So yeah, I think it's normal being body shamed, pero at least naging motivation ko yun to improve myself, to make myself better and to work out. Yun.
Okay. Gianna, ikaw.
Oh, I could talk about this all night. Because I've always had struggles with my body. I grew up not the skinniest child. I mean, I was a chubby kid, and then I got into sports when I was around 9 years old, and I love sports. I did gymnastics for a long time. I was also a basketball player for a good amount of time. I work in the sports world, so body shaming was never something that I really thought about specifically, but it was an insecurity of mine. So coming into the pageant world, when do you think that you look fine, but there are specifics, especially for women, on what your chest size should be, what your waistline should be, what your hips should look like. I was a little bit startled. Thankfully, my mentors never told me, that you have to lose weight, you have to look like this, you have to look like this. But this is when comparison comes in. You see another girl and they say, "Uy, sobrang sexy niya, she's perfect." You think, "Bakit ako hindi sinasabihan ng ganon?" Or, "What's wrong with me?" And here comes in the fact that I also now work in the fitness industry. I'm an indoor cycling instructor. I teach boxing and HIIT. And it's kind of a struggle because I work in that industry where strong is sexy. I come into a class, I'm the thinnest one and I'm the weakest one. And that opens my eyes thinking I need to be strong. That's a little bit what's toxic about pageantry, to be honest, is that there is this body image that everybody needs to conform to, and you think, is that really what strong and healthy represents? So right now, I think because I have more experience in the fitness industry, I even did a live about body positivity very recently with a local brand. I realized that my priority is really going to be how I feel inside. If I wake up and I feel good, that should be my priority. If somebody says I need to lose weight, I need to gain weight, it's easy for that to get to you. But then again, for me, my priority is now being strong and healthy and the true definition of that. So yeah, body positivity, body issues. As I mentioned, this was my senior thesis, so I can go on and on and on about it. But I think we also, as Filipinos who love aesthetics, who love, just looking good, we also need to make sure that we feel good.
Right. So in my
JP,
case,
ikaw.
Well, I've also had my fair share of body shaming and, as a part of cyberbullying, because as I've mentioned earlier, it was part of my objective to revolutionize pageants, that sometimes, or it should be the new normal, that you don't have to just have the best body or the best face in order for you to succeed in pageants. So I diverted that in a way that, like what JM said kanina, bumawi siya sa ibang aspect. Because at my time during Mr. Filipinas, I did not have the best body. There were, Cages Panopio and all that. They were really prepared because they were in the scenes longer than me. I was a newbie. Yeah. So when I got there, I did not, at first I felt a little bit insecure, but I had to make sure that that is not the only validation that I give myself, that I will succeed in this pageant because I have the best body. But I had to make sure that I speak well. I had to make sure that I am what the organization is looking for, a spokesperson, an ambassador, and I can carry their brand very well, regardless of the body that I have. So I felt like, okay, I'm going to do this. I feel like I am secure in my position here, no matter the body that I have. Now here comes the international pageant. You see candidates from Bulgaria, from Brazil, and all that. And you just don't know how to react, because you get to be compared with a lot of the candidates. And the thing is, my pageant was held here in the Philippines, an international pageant. So people will be rooting for, let's say Bulgaria or Czech Republic and all that, and other countries who have the best bodies like they see on magazines. So it makes me feel a little bit, it moved me a little bit for a while, but then I had to go back to the very core of why I'm here. It's not because I have the best body, because that is something that I already accepted, that I don't have the best body. If you put me together side by side with all these candidates, if you just, closely look at our bodies physically, I'm sure I might come last. But then again, it was more on, what am I willing to offer to the organization and to the people who believe in me, or the advocacies that I promote and support, that makes me deserving of my position here. So that was the validation that I actually was clinging into. That no matter what happens, even if these people have the best bodies, like they're models in their countries, but that does not affect my chance in winning in this competition. So regardless of the backlash, I was so sure that I'm still who I am,
Okay.
right from the beginning.
Okay, so since okay, next question. How important is your fans for your mental health during your pageant days? Okay, Gianna muna ako mag-start.
Yeah, because you know that this is an issue for me. um, well, I'm participating in a virtual pageant right now. So, of course, social media presence is everything. And honestly, it does get to my head sometimes thinking I haven't been in pageantry long enough for people to know who I am, which is why it does affect me when I see. Our lives and they're rooting for my opponents when I know I also performed quite well. But the thing is, when it comes to fans, and I've learned this in the past few months, especially with Miss Philippines Earth, quality over quantity any day. You want people that will really be there to support you because they know what you're capable of, not just because nakikisali sila with the crowd. Which is why fans, yes, it does affect me in a way, thinking I do not have the numbers that I wish I had, but it also affects me in a positive way, thinking I have fans that aren't even fans anymore. They are friends that I can lean on through times of struggle, especially when a pageant is emotionally draining. So for anybody else that is going through or will go through the same thing, thinking, why is nobody supporting me? You should not focus on what you don't have, but think about what you do have and how people do believe in you, and do everything you can to win it for them and to prove them right instead of trying to prove other people wrong.
That's true. I
Okay.
agree.
Uh, anyone? Any more?
Sorry, the question
Ikaw,
was, are fans important in the journey and
Matan.
mental health?
Yeah.
Well, I treat my fans as my friends, and there was a time when I was still starting. It was, you know, they care so much, they show you so much love that sometimes the only validation you need, aside from yourself, the one that you give yourself and the one that your family gives you, is the validation that they give you. So, when people started to attack me, when people felt like you should not be there, why are you even there in the first place, and all that, I have a bunch of people who actually believe in me, and that's enough. That's more than enough. Because just like what Gianna said earlier, I'm gonna win this for them. It's not my responsibility to win this for the people who do not believe in me. It is my responsibility to win this for the people who believe in me and for the people who will be affected with the advocacy that I support. They will be given importance. I will win this for them just because we share a common cause. So my fans, I treat them as my friends and as my family, and up until now, we still closely communicate. Because right after the pageants from Mr. Filipinas and Man of the World, they're still there. They continue to support me in the journey that I have in life. So no matter what that is, they continue to just support, like, go, no matter what that is, just do it and do it. And I that's the beautiful thing about pageants. You just don't gain supporters, but you gain lifelong friends.
Sa akin naman actually nung sumali ako ng pageant nung Ginoong Pilipinas, I actually siyempre coming from Iloilo, I cannot bring my supporters and friends to Manila to really support me. So during the coronation night and even the pre-pageant activities, I was just on my own. And actually, wala pa akong handler noon. So talagang mag-isa lang ako. Like, I have to wear my national costume by myself. I have to wear my casual wear, my formal wear. So I have to prepare all those things by myself. So wala talagang, parang wala talagang nagso-support sa akin that time. And especially when I walk on stage, walang cheers and yells coming from the audience. Because, syempre, who am I? Like, I come from Iloilo and nobody knows me. I didn't had any previous pageant experience in the national pageant. So that was very difficult. And even during online voting and even text votes, talagang mahina talaga. Pero sabi ko nga, I joined in this pageant not for these people na hindi naniniwala sa akin, for those who do not believe in me, but for people who believes in me. And sabi ko rin na I'm always carrying this motivation na I am representing the Ilonggo people, I'm representing Iloilo, I'm carrying this brand na I am an Ilonggo, so I have to do it well. And siguro kasama na rin doon kasi na parang dream ko talaga na maka-join ng national pageant. So parang yun yung naging motivation ko every day to really to work hard. And even actually during the press presentation, I don't know any pageant vloggers, no, but gladly ngayon at least friends na natin yung mga pageant vloggers diyan. So ayun, mahirap siya, pero later I realized that the very important thing is that we establish relationship with these people as we go along. And doon naman makikita ng tao yung honesty mo, makikita ng tao yung integrity mo, makikita ng tao yung attitude mo and yung character. And yun yung importante na hindi ka mawawala, hindi mababago yung character or yung attitude mo, yung personality mo just because you do not have supporters. So you have to exceed expectations pa rin on your own. So I was able to make it, and yes, siguro it affects my mental health, pero well, to be honest, no, there was a time na I really cried kasi after press presentation wala talagang supporters and fans, pero sabi ko na lang kay God. So parang yun yung naging ano ko na I prayed na I'll make it through and I can survive this. So yun.
Okay, so I think I have to remove Gianna from the frame.
Yeah,
7:55.
I have work kasi at 8 p.m. But I just want to say thank you so much for including me in this. Thank you, JM and JP. It was nice talking to you guys virtually. And Mitch, always thank you. You're one of my favorite people right now, really strengthening me through this pageant. Thank you to Pageant Hub for just being so welcoming and supportive. And to everybody watching, please continue to even this discussion about mental health. It is so important. We cannot emphasize that enough. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for inviting me here.
Gianna, all the best in your
Thank you,
pageant.
Gianna.
Good luck. We'll be watching. All rooting
We're
for you.
supporting you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Alright.
Okay. So, tayong tatlo na lang.
Laki ko sa frame, ah.
Next question would be, how would you wala, meron bang way to change? Wait. Parang ako yung
Okay
naging
na yun.
malaki. Ay, yan. Balance na. So, my next question is, how do you react to, rumors? Babe, no, pag-usapan natin yan kanina. How do you react to rumors?
About us?
Yeah, in your pageant, or basically about life that you would like to share.
To me, rumors and rumors until otherwise proven. And no matter what happens, it does not, like how the quote goes, these things don't matter to the people who care for you. And the people who don't care for you, these things matter the most. So that's very, very easy to understand that, the right ones who actually care for you would not even have two minds or doubts about who you are, your grounding, your authenticity, and all that. So rumors will always be rumors. And, that's the least thing that you should even worry about. There's so many things on your plate as a pageant candidate or as a pageant winner. If you focus yourself on just rumors, you can't gain anything. There's no gain. Talo lang lahat. So, you don't give those people talking about you what they want. Just simply ignore them.
JM.
Yeah, actually, tama yung sinabi ni JP, no? Just ignore the rumors unless it's proven true, no? Pero yun din, siguro maging careful din tayo as pageant winners that we don't give hints to people for them to make rumors. Yung ganon, kasi baka sometimes they're making rumors because merong, yung sinasabi nila na walang apoy, walang uso kung walang apoy. Yung ganon, siguro may pinagmumulan at may siguro may dahilan. So sometimes we have to go back to the reason why they have rumors. And sometimes we have to check upon ourselves that maybe there is really something wrong within us. Pero yun lang siguro, if there are rumors and you know within yourself that it's not true, so better yet ignore it and just disregard it. So yun.
Yeah, true. I mean, or that's a price that we pay for as public figures. People are gonna talk about us, and it does not affect me so much. It's because I am a person. I have my personal life too, and that does not reflect. Rumors do not reflect who I am. But it reflects the people, one who believes, and the people who actually spread the rumors. Because I have a personal life. I have my things going around me, and when you talk about my business, then it speaks so much about what you are or who you are as a person. So I don't even take that. I just take that lightly. I don't even let me lose a wink. You know what I mean?
Okay, so my next question will be, merong pinost yung mental health matters PH na quote na your mental illness is not because of lack of faith. Can you react on this one?
Uh, that's true because some of the people, kasi when, or in my case, in my experience, when I was going through depression, all that, all you just need to do is pray harder, talk to God, and all that. Well, that is salvation. That's one. I mean, being able to have a close relationship with God, that's already one. But then again, when you have mental health issues, there's something going on deeper inside. That is why it's so important that you need to seek professional help. You need to open up to friends, and you need to accept that there's something wrong about you, because acceptance is already the beginning of healing. Because when you already acknowledge that there's a problem, you already start looking for solutions. And another solution is, like, uh, take meds if it's needed through professional help and all that. So I don't agree that it's lack of faith, but it's more on, you strengthen your faith together with the help that you need, physical help that you need from around you.
Siguro no, mental illness is not actually a question of faith. Kasi you can have a very strong faith, but you can still face mental health challenges in your life. So there are a lot of factors, the biopsychosocial factors, and we have to treat medical illness or medical problems, mental illnesses as medical problems. What I mean na
If we're
dapat
talking
we
about
should
cancer
treat
or
it scientifically or medically. So dapat if you're suffering from mental health problems, you should seek, sabi ni JP, no, seek professional help. Because that's the only way na magagamot to. And siguro sa mga viewers din natin, no, because merong mga humaharap ng depression, and sometimes they have to take medicines. So imagine that, yun clinically diagnosed yun as depression. So hindi mo lang yun makukuha sa parang yun nga, sabi nga ni JP, no, it's important that we strengthen our faith together with treating, of course, mental health illnesses or mental illnesses as medically as well as a medical problem. Like when you have toothache, you have to drink medicine. If you have headache, so you have to see mental illnesses as that, no? Ayun, so it's not a question of faith, because you can have a very strong faith, but you can also have a mental health or mental illnesses. So yeah.
If I may add, that statement is really true, because it's alarming how the discussion or issues on mental health is not as it's not as present or prevalent than other compared to other public health issues or medical issues. So it is important to acknowledge the fact that it is not a lack of faith, and it's some other things that you need to work on in order for you to protect or prevent having mental health illnesses, so that for the people watching right now, you know how to help one yourself or the people around you, if you know some who are experiencing mental health, because you can just tell them or tell yourself that I need to pray more, or I need to strengthen my relationship with God because I have depression. So when you face a person, or when you have a person right now with you that is experiencing mental health, you can just tell them that you need to pray more. But at least right now, you're aware that there's more to that needs attention than just faith. So we need to address that problem very well.
I don't know if my next question you will be, can you talk more about yung what you can control, reacting on what you can control and what I cannot control in terms of your pageant experience?
Okay. So what I can control are and what I cannot control. Like what I cannot control are the reception from people. I can't force them to like me. I can't force them to, you know, to spread my photos or all that. I can force them to love me as a person. But what I can control are my emotions towards these things. That I can strengthen my emotions when it comes to bashers. I can strengthen my 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 gut when it comes to negative things. Those are the things that I can control because I can force someone to like me. But what I can control is my reaction to these things. That I shouldn't be affected by what they say, but rather divert or focus my attention to other things like how do I make myself more presentable? How do I make myself more deserving? Or how do I show my fans or the believers that they're actually supporting the right candidate? So that's what I can control. Other than that, that should be not your concern.
I agree with JP. No, what I can control are the scores of the judges. What I can control are how the fans would like my photos, or for the pageant bloggers to feature me or to share my photos and articles. What I can control are the things or mga circumstances, no, that might happen during the pageant proper. Pero what I can control are my feelings and how I would react to it. So yung kanina, yung sinabi natin, 'di ba, na may mga cases that we are bashed, that we are hated, no? Pero how we are going to react with these bashing and hating um, are the things that we can control. So yun, yung emotions natin, yung reactions natin. So, yun yung mga bagay na pwede
The
nating
energy
i-control.
that you give, the energy that you exert. So if it feels like, or if you think that the negative energy is draining you, then don't focus on that negative energy. Just focus on the wonderful thing that I'm sure is present around you.
Yeah. Kasi minsan what you radiate to the world, to the universe would
Comes
actually go
back.
back to you as well. So you have, yung sabi nila, di ba, law of attraction. So if you want positive things to happen, you have to radiate that within yourself and you have to be positive. Well, if there are negative people around you, so just ignore them and just be positive on your own. What is important is that you are doing your best, that you are determined to win, that you really want to win. So yun yung importante at the end of the day. And di ka lang mawawala, di lang, kumbaga, yung character mo, yung attitude mo, yung personality mo will always be intact. Yung faith mo will always be there. So, yun yung mas mahalaga.
Okay, since pareho na kayo, nawala na si Gianna, my question would be about yung men side naman. So, why do you think na yung men, naging connotation yung men ay pag lalaki ka, dapat hindi ka umiiyak?
I think it started from, it's dated from before how our society is shaping and dividing men and women. That when as a child, you were told that a girl is allowed to cry. It's okay for a girl to cry, and a boy, you should not cry, because when you cry, then you're automatically, you automatically show women feminine emotions and all that. So bringing that to the society that we have right now, it's so hard for us to erase that culture, to erase that fact that we have grown in a society that only women have the right to feel, and men should not express emotions because it feels like you're losing your masculinity. And I highly disagree because men have feelings too, and men are allowed to express themselves the same way that women can express themselves. And just like what JM said earlier, suicide rates and mental health illnesses are higher. I think 4 times higher than women. It is because men would rather not um, open up to people. Men would rather not be seen emotional or cry. It's because he feels like that would lessen his masculinity, would make him less of a man. And that's alarming. It's because everyone should is entitled to express their emotions. Everyone should be able to express what they feel, say what they want to say, and speak their minds because that's healthy. And that is also the reason why I wanted to put forth mental health very much. It's because we need to talk about this, especially when it comes to men, like who I am representing all the more. Men all over the world who are depressed or are deprived from their freedom of expression just because they feel like that would make them less of a man. And I just want to give a message towards people out there that men are entitled to what they feel and they should not be suppressed to their expression because we all have rights and freedom of expression is one.
Yes, I actually agree with JP, no, that actually this started long time ago because of toxic masculinity. That if you are a guy, you are expected to be seen as a symbol of strength. You have to be seen as, alam mo yun, dapat you exude masculinity. Dapat pag sinabing masculinity, dapat you are strong, hindi ka magpapakita ng any sign of weaknesses, and crying is a sign of being weak. Yun yung perception of toxic masculinity. So that is why most often than not, no, ang fathers natin, yung grandfathers natin would always tell us na nung bata pa tayo, 'di ba? Uy, wag kang umiyak para kang bakla. Uy, wag kang umiyak para kang nakakaya dun sa babae mong classmate. Iyak ka ng iyak. Yung ganon, um, sometimes nung bata pa, actually nung pagbata pa tayo, dun talaga hinuhubog yung character natin sa tao. So, kaya ngayon, no, according to the Department of Health, gaya nga ng sinabi ko kanina, mas mataas yung suicide rate of men compared to women. There's a reason na to because men do not, kumbaga, yung emotional intelligence natin, medyo mahina tayo doon. So, yun yung kailangan nating improve, kailangan nating i-develop. That we should be open to to expressing our feelings, our emotions, that it's okay to cry, it's okay to feel weak, it's okay to be vulnerable. That doesn't make you less of a man, 'di ba? Hindi mo naman to ikakahina or 'di ba? At and now that we are living in a world, no, that we are now becoming more open to the different gender, sexual orientations, mga labels, 'di ba? We have to be more accepting to people. Siguro nagsisimula rin to dahil sa natatakot tayo na kung ano yung sasabihin ng ibang tao sa atin. So, to our viewers right now who are watching, babalik tayo dun sa point or sa sinabi namin kanina na siguro don't mind kung ano yung sasabihin ng ibang tao. Yes, it's normal na talagang may sasabihin sila sa inyo, pero at the end of the day, sino yung magiging kawawa, sino yung magsasuffer, 'di ba? Ikaw din. So you have to be expressive, no? To just be vulnerable. It's okay to cry. Walang mawawala sa'yo. Kasi yun lang yun talaga, yung kailangan natin na ma-express, mailabas yung emotion, yung problema, 'di ba? And sometimes nga, 'di ba, sa yung ginagawa kasi ng mga ginagawa, no, pag nalas, usually yung coping mechanism kasi natin, kung kailan na parang gusto natin mag-vent out ng feelings, kailangan uminom muna ng alak, di ba? Yun yung ganun. So, yun yung naging practice, no? But we have to realize that even within our own selves, we have to be expressive of our emotions. So, yun. That doesn't make you less of a man. Ulitin natin yan.
Okay, so ang dami ko na pick up dun sa ano na yun, point na yun. So, my next question would be with the social media being developed nowadays. Eh, di ba yung dati no medyo bata-bata pa tayo, wala namang Facebook, 'di ba? So, how do you think the social media can be used as a tool to further advocate for mental health?
I think social media has been playing a very, very good role in promoting and discussing mental health because just like exactly what we're doing right now, we have discussions or we promoted healthy discussions when it comes to mental health. When people are watching, people are learning from us. And it's also a great avenue, aside from posting pictures of yourself, selfies, and all that, to speak your mind and let the world know about what you truly feel or what you truly think. And it's a lot easier, especially that the youth is, they compose the majority of the people who are using the social media, that we are educating them by talking about it. It's an easier avenue, it's faster, it's quicker, and discussions are faster. People pick up ideas from you, people share their thoughts, and I think in one way or another, social media has played a really healthy role when it comes to discussions like this. Kasi mas madali nating i-share yung opinions natin, i-share yung, i-voice out yung mga concerns natin. And people are gonna see it right away in a snap. So I think social media has been playing a good role. But on the contrary, sometimes it's also the source of our mental health issues because what has been mentioned, uh, cyberbullying, uh, comparison, body shaming, that why do I not look as sexy or as fit as this person? We try to compare ourselves. And it's mostly, present in the youth and in teenagers. And they're mostly affected by that because they feel like that's the kind of validation or um, that's the kind of mold that they should fit in. So it also brings us to the solution to that problem. If that problem is coming from social media, then why not use social media to have the solution? To talk more about validation, to talk more about issues like anxiety, depression, and all that. Parang, although social media has been, connotated a lot of times as negative and all that, but it's also has given us a lot of place to talk about issues, not just mental health, but a lot of things. So might as well take advantage and maximize social media right now because everyone is on social media and it's like a news outlet. As long as you post something responsibly.
Yes, I agree with JP. Use social media responsibly. Yung sabi nga, di ba, think before you click. And ngayon, syempre, in a world, no, like recently, di ba, and because we are divided when it comes to political issues, and of course, we are entitled in expressing our opinions, in expressing what we stand for. Pero at the same time, we also have to realize that we have to be responsible with what we post. We have to be responsible that we do not go into, alam mo yun, yung parang yung sinasabi na ad hominem attack, that you attack the person already, that you do not already confront the argument, but or the issue, but you are already attacking that person. So that is a no-no, no? Kasi it might also destroy friendships. Pero we have, yun nga, that is why also social media is giving us the options to unblock, unfollow, unfriend, block, unfollow, unfriend people, because if it's already harmful to your mental health, so you have to let it go. So yes, I'm going back to mental health awareness. It's important that we also use our social media platforms to share something about our mental health advocacy. Like for example, we share positivity, but not the toxic positivity. Positive quotes, positive siguro mga affirmations, gratitude. Instead of spreading hate, we should use our social media platform as an avenue to spread love and hope to a lot of people. Um, so I think um, kasi naman ito yung mga bagay na we can control. We can control on how we can make use of our social media to become influential to a lot of people. So, hopefully din, no, yung mga social media influencers din natin ng mga friends na nanonood, this is the perfect time that we make use of this platform to really inspire and to really spread hope, light, and awareness to a lot of people. So, ayun. Let's spread positivity.
Okay, so my next question, actually medyo patapos na tayo. Let's talk about kasi you both experience, ewan ko kay JM kung matuturing yung experience, same experience. Kasi si JP won in Misters of Filipinas, pero placed in the top 5 ng Man of the World International Pageant. So that's a different thing between nanalo ka, 'di ba? Babe, nanalo ka. And then Man of the World biglang fourth runner up. Do people react differently when it comes to the time na nanalo ka nung MOF versus yung nag fourth runner up ka nung Man of the World?
Well, I understand where the discussion is coming from, and not everyone is going to accept defeat the way that I accepted it. Because when I won Misters of Filipinos, of course, everybody was rejoicing, especially my fans. And then when I competed in Man of the World, I got into fourth place. And, half of the people would message me and tell me, like, you should have won. You should have, up until this day, like, even yesterday, I still receive messages, you could have won Man of the World and all that. And that's normal. That's how much they believe in you. But then, to the people who have accepted the defeat with me, they're okay because they're so secure that, and the way that I make them understand that it's not everything. This is what I always tell people when I was competing, that this isn't everything. The fact that the fact that I was able to make it here, the fact that I was able to spread awareness or to, put forth the causes that I believe in and show it to the people. Sometimes I do not need to win. Sometimes I do not need the judge's approval or the organization's approval. Because in the first place, I go back to the very start. Why am I here? I needed the platform. I needed a place where I can speak. I needed a place where I can show to people that I have something in me. I have a story to tell. And that story and that something in me has already been shared to people. And the fact that I was there is already enough. So winning or losing isn't the defining or discerning factor. It's about how true are you to your core, or how true are you to your words when you started. Which is why, after I competed in Man of the World, I still continued to do talks about mental health. I still continued to do youth empowerment and spread the importance of education. It's because it doesn't end there. That is just a part of the journey. But that is not the whole journey. My journey is still going on up until now. The crown or no crown.
JM's case would be different kasi he plays in the top ilan ba kayo? The top 6 as Ginoong Filipinas first runner up, pero hindi siya on top of the list before ng pageant press as nasa top 6, 'di ba? So parang surprise ka pa nung time na yun na
I
umabot
was
ka.
one too. I mean, during my time, I was the only person who has been breaking predictions. Even in Mr. of Filipinas, I wasn't part of top five, but I went into top five. And then in Man of the World, I wasn't part of top five, but I got into top five. So I always break predictions. So yeah.
Yeah. So,
Siguro,
ikaw,
sa akin siguro I exactly share the same sentiments and thoughts as JP, no? Kasi ako, I always believe when I joined talaga Ginoong Pilipinas, yes, I really want to win the main title. Pero at the end of the day, I would always go back to my core. And whatever happens, the title or whatever I have achieved would not define me as a person and would not define my future. So kahit ano man ang maging kahinatnan nun, for as long as my character and my attitude is intact and it's still there, so that is what is important. And how I deal with other people is what matters most, di ba? Yung na-establish na friendship, yung relationship, yun yung magmamatter. Sa akin naman, yes, maraming nagsasabi na, uy, you deserve a crown, you deserve to win the title, to be one of the title holders. Pero ngayon, like may mga nagsasabi na, uy, you are mas visible ka pa, ganyan, ganyan. Bakit mas marami pa nag invite sa'yo na ganito, ganyan? Bakit mas marami ka pang projects ganito, ganyan? Pero ako naman, on how I respond with it, sinasabi ko palagi na um, blessing yun from God, no? And siguro sa akin, kasi from the start, yes, wala man yung sabi ko kanina, no? Wala man akong corona, but it would not define me as a person. So, hindi matatapos dun yung buhay, di ba? We have to continue, we have to promote our advocacies kasi yun yung, even before I started, before I joined Ginoong Pilipinas, I was already working on these advocacies on both mental health and HIV/AIDS. I've been doing a lot of projects already. So, me not winning a title won't stop me from doing what I have been doing already, but it's actually an opportunity for me to further do the things that I have to do. Yung ganon. Um, I always say, na I've always been very supportive with my kings, with my brother, na winners, and there should not be any comparison, no? Kasi iba-iba kami. May kanya-kanya kaming strengths, may kanya-kanya kaming weaknesses. And nasabi ko na to sa lahat ng FB lives ko, nasabi ko na rin to sa mga guestings namin before, that I totally support, no, ang mga kings ng Ginoong Pilipinas. And until now, I'm always supporting them. So sabi ko sa mga fans and supporters, wag na lang po natin bigyan ng mali siya yun. Wag na lang po natin na i-compare yung isa't isa. Kasi sila po, I know that they won because they are capable to win the international title. So sa akin, I also do the same way um, natalo man ako, I have to continue. So I have to work on my mental health advocacy. So yun po yung ginagawa ko ngayon. Like for example, in every FB live that I do, I always make sure that I always deliver the same message to a lot of people that we have to prioritize our mental health. And yun yung mas importante, no? Kumbaga, action speaks louder than words. So ayoko po na dumating yung time na sabihin sa akin na, uy, naging advocate lang naman yan sa mental health kasi sumali ng pageant. Yung ganun, gusto ko maintindihan ng tao na nung sumali ako, I was really serious with this advocacy and I would continue promoting it, no? Because we need to promote mental health advocacy. Yun.
okay, so I'm down to my last two questions. Okay, first of my last two questions is, what would people expect from you with regards to your mental health advocacies after this quarantine?
Kasi just like what I told you or I've been telling you, babe, na there are days when I do not talk about mental health. It's because these days are the days when I struggle the most. And to advocates out there, it's okay to struggle as well. Because you're only human too, who happens to be an advocate and who happens to have the power and the capacity to spread awareness. But I have days when I get anxiety and I have days when I have, disorders. I have days when I just feel so outrageous and sad that to the point na I'm not as functional as I am as a person. So what you can expect from me after this is, you know, I'm still going to be able to um, express the my intent for mental health the same way, but the difference is going to be how much I took care of myself during the pandemic. Because the pandemic is going to take a huge and large toll talaga towards our mental health. Eh. So that's going to be an additional message that I'm going to send towards the world. Na there are times when it's going to affect you so much. And the first thing that you need to do is take care of yourself. Kasi I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. I have days na talagang I have
I
bad
know.
relationships with people around me kasi my mental health is so bad. And although I cannot use that as an excuse na kasi I'm having mental health issues ngayon kaya I'm so harsh to the people towards me. I mean, the people around me. But that is something that I want to tell people na sometimes that is okay. Sometimes that it's okay to take care of yourself first when it happens to you. So maybe that's it.
Jay. Jay.
Ayun, so siguro sa akin naman, I have to continue what I have started with all these initiatives. We did Pag-Amligana Coffee Talk series, which is a mental health digital initiative. Now that we know that we are just getting started, no? Yes, we are kumbaga transitioning na to GCQ, to modified GCQ, but the battle is just getting started. There were epidemiologists who were saying that the next wave of COVID-19 pandemics are actually mental illnesses, and that is very alarming. So we will not stop from here. We have to continue advocating for mental health and telling people that help is there, help is here, so that you can ask help from professionals, you can ask help from your friends, and you have people that you can go to when you need help. And siguro sa mga viewers din po natin that needs help, no? Um, or sa lahat po, siguro, no, we have to be friends to everyone. We have to be kind, we have to be understanding. Alam mo yun, this is not a battle between or among Filipinos, but this is a battle against COVID-19. So if we want to heal as one, if we want to survive this pandemic together, we have to help each other. And the only way that we can help each other is to reach out, no, with one another. And siguro din, no, just to add na lang din, kasi now that we are, siguro magkakalayo tayo, no, physically isolated tayo from our friends, we still have to be socially connected. And the only thing that we can do that is through reaching out to our friends through social media. So, dapat hindi mawawala yung social connection natin. And always ask, no, kamustahin natin yung friends natin, yung family, yung loved ones natin, kung kamusta sila, ano ginagawa nila. And siguro yun, hindi tayo matatapos dito. Like next month, June is actually Men's Health Month. No, Men's Health Month. Pero under sa Men's Health Month, we can still advocate for men's mental health. So yun po.
Okay, so my
I
last
agree.
question would be sige, JP.
No,
Yogi.
I was just saying na I
JP.
agree with JM saying na that's actually right. Right now kasi this pandemic has greatly affected our mental health more than anything, and which is why when people ask me, are you in favor of extension and all that, I'm in favor for health issues, but sometimes when I speak personally, how is my mental health going on? Parang hirap na ako. Yes, so that is one of the things that we need to address after this. How people are going to cope, how people are going to help themselves with the effect na dinala ng COVID-19. Kasi hindi nga tayo nagkasakit sa COVID-19, but we are experiencing mental health issues. So that's another problem that we need to face. So as mental health advocates, we have to, raise our level of responsiveness towards the issue.
My last question will be, before I ask you for your final words, how would you think would be the direction of these mental health initiatives during at least the 5 years? Tingin nyo, on your own forecast.
Um, I believe that
Magpakamanghu.
the Philippines has, at least in the case of the Philippines, I believe that the Philippines has taken a huge step and very, very wonderful initiative on passing the mental health law. Actually, I'm just gonna share a quick story. I was busy with Mr. Filipinas Panon. I was in the bus. I was going to meet one of the doctors that I usually meet when it comes to mental health discussions. Ganyan. And I was on the bus, and suddenly in the news, parang sabi that the mental health bill has become a law. And then I was really, really leaping in joy. I was so joyful because that is already one step towards attaining the goal, which is, spreading the awareness. And the fact that it is now being discussed, it is now being talked about by so many people, and the people out there that we have reached out are slowly understanding what it truly is. Na it's not, it's, I mean, the notion that baliw and all that. Mental health is no longer what they call baliw these days, but something, how do I say this? Better. Like people have coined a better term when it comes to mental health, and people are now able to explain mental health in layman's terms. So we're already going there. However, we're still in the fight against the discussion because some people still are not that receptive, and some people are still afraid when it comes to mental health. So that is why the more we talk about it, the more we normalize things, the more we mention mental health, just like how do I say this? Just like a normal word, just like cancer and diabetes. The way that we discuss these things, because it sounds normal when I say cancer, or when a person has cancer, or a person has diabetes. We feel bad, but it sounds normal because a lot of people experience that. But because of the fact that we do not acknowledge that a lot of people are also experiencing mental health issues like depression and anxiety, we have these reservations to talk about that. So I think to wrap that up, the Philippines is going there, but it is also the time when I would say that I would like to invite everyone to talk more about that so that we'll be successful and we'll achieve the goal.
Jay? Jay?
Yes, siguro yung sa akin naman, although we have the Philippine the Philippine Mental Health Law, pero siguro kailangan pa rin yung implementing rules and regulations, no? Although it's already there, pero sometimes kumbaga hindi pa talaga nararamdaman yung epekto nito, no? Although nandiyan na, at least we already have the Philippine Mental Health Law, pero siguro we have to, yung tama yung sinabi ni JP, no? That we have to continue talking about mental health so that things will be normalized. Yung ganon na mas bibigyan ng importansya ng gobyerno yung mental health ng mga Pilipino. Lalong-lalo na ngayon sa pandemic na to, no? Kasi too much focus was given to COVID-19 pandemic on how to address it. Pero yung with regard to the mental health of the COVID-19 patients, of our frontliners, of everyone, yun yung medyo hindi natin nararamdaman. So kailangan natin na kumbaga i-strengthen pa talaga yung mental health in the next 5 years. And siguro, syempre we are now, kumbaga every year, no, nag-change yung dynamic ng kada tao when we face circumstances like ito, grabing hit to sa atin yung COVID-19 pandemic. So kailangan natin na mag-adapt din sa mga changes na nangyayari sa paligid natin. And yun, I think there's still hindi pa dito natatapos talaga. There's still more work to do when it comes to mental health advocacy.
Yeah. I would just like to add also the importance of the mental health and how balik kasi yung one of my KPIs or one of my gauging factor is when mental health facilities are being brought to grassroots level. Yung our health facilities have mental health facilities. And then our hospitals or even our barangay health centers have mental health facilities. Our schools have mental health facilities. Our workplaces have mental health facilities. That means parang siguro pag na-attain na natin yan, we're already close to success. So sana in the next 5 years we'll be able to achieve that. So in order to achieve that, we use our voices and invite people out there to strengthen the bond, and we create this ripple of effect so that darating talaga tayo sa time na ganyan na yung situation.
Okay, guys, your final message to our viewers who are watching. And realize ko ang dami nating viewers ngayon. Parang sa dami ng live na ginawa ko, ngayon ako nagkaroon ng ganito karaming viewers.
Wow. Kasi kasama ka. Live
Hindi,
ka.
hindi. Iba talaga ang mga fans nyo. Okay, so, and your final words, guys?
So first, I'd like to say thank you so much, and I appreciate being here. I appreciate the invitation, and that mental health is something that is really close to me. It is something that I've been working hardly for the last, several years, and being able to spread information and share awareness towards people is something that I truly look forward to every time. So to people out there, especially in this hard times, in this pandemic, I'm sure that we take this. Our situations are different. It might be easy for you, but it's harder for someone, or even worse for other people. But we all we all have something in common. We're greatly affected. Our mental health is something that we should not just take for granted. Kasi yun nga sabi ko kanina, we may be healthy physically, but how is our mental health? So never ever take for granted your mental health. And if ever that you have people around you, or you yourself are experiencing mental health issues or depression or anxiety, don't ever feel worried about reaching out for help, or don't you ever feel afraid of judgment, or people are gonna discriminate you for that, because there's always a lot of people who's going to listen to you. So may quote nga ako nabasa. This is about suicide. May quote ako nabasa na, I would rather listen to your sentiments, or would rather listen to your stories endlessly than attending your funeral. So yun, that's really something na totoo. Kasi, even as simple as listening to a person's stories, a person's experiences, or a person's sentiments, that is already, in a way, a great help. So to people out there watching us, extend if you can extend, reach out if you can reach out, and we are all in this together. And I'm also here if you guys want advices, or want to know more about mental health and how to, I could, give you a light. I would shed light and give you more information about mental health and all that. And also to everyone watching out there, kaya natin to, laban lang, and don't you forget that we'll get through this. We'll have better days.
I just want to publicly say thank you kasi kanina JP, di ba? Before we started this, kulang na lang umiyak na ako eh.
Oh,
I mean,
that's it.
hindi, actually I was crying na. Pero you've been such a wonderful presence. JM, final words.
Siguro yung final message ko na lang, thank you so much to Pageant Hub. Thank you so much for the initiative from Mitch and Constantino, no? This is we really appreciate this kind of initiative that mental health advocates are gathered together, no, in one FB live. So thank you so much, Pageant Hub. Siguro yung message ko na lang, ayun, we have to understand and we cannot simply dismiss mental health or mental illnesses or problems as nag-iinarte lang, nagdadrama lang. Kasi mahina yung faith niya kay God. Kasi sinapian yan. Ay, baliw yan. Buang yan, no? Sa Bisaya na term. We have to understand that there are biopsychosocial factors affecting the mental health of a person. When we say biopsychosocial factors, again, like biological, no? It could be genetic, yung mental health or yung mental illnesses na yan. Pwede yan sa hormone imbalances. And of course, yung psychosocial factors like yung mga political issues that are happening around us, yung mga social issues like poverty, it affects our mental health, di ba? Kasi syempre, pag gutom ka, di ba, paano ka pa makakapag-isip ng tama? Yung ganon, yung COVID-19 pandemic. Dahil sa kinakaharap nating pandemyang ito, there are a lot of uncertainties and doubts that are going around. So it affects our mental health. So kailangan nating maintindihan that during this difficult time, we have to be more understanding to other people. We have to be kind because we don't know the battles that they are going through within themselves, no? Kanya-kanya yun nga, yung sinasabi ko na yes, no, you may have handled your own pain. Yes, you may have coped up and adjusted well with this pandemic, but how about the others? No? Kasi iba-iba tayo ng coping mechanism eh. Iba-iba tayo kung paano natin i-handle yung ganitong sitwasyon. So we have to be more understanding, we have to be more kind. And ayun, siguro if you are someone who's suffering from mental health problem or mental illnesses, you have to seek professional help. Huwag po kayong mahihiya na pumunta sa psychiatrist or tumawag po sa National Center for Mental Health. Meron pong usap number, no? Or mag-seek help sa mga nagpo-provide ng social therapy, no? Oo. So meron pong marami nagpo-provide niyan ngayon na libre lang. So go i-grab niyo po yung opportunity na yan. So yun, at kung ikaw naman po ay may mga kilala kayong mga friends na who are suffering from mental health problems, so kailangan niyo pong kausapin, kamustahin, and yun, siguro sa social media na rin, no, iwasan natin yung pagbabash, yung napaka-toxic na po nung COVID-19 pa lang, tapos dadagdagan pa natin ng kung ano pang mga, 'di ba? Hateful words, nakaka-stress, 'di ba? Nakaka-toxic. So kailangan nating maging mabait. Kahit yun na lang, yung pinaka-basic na lang, maging kind and maging understanding. At yun, sama-sama tayong magdasal that we will overcome this pandemic. Ayun, siguro the work will not stop here. We will continue. We are just getting started. Itutuloy natin yung mental health advocacy, and I think yun yung mas mahalaga. So, yun na po. If you also, yes, you can like my page, no, JM Suelo, or you can add me John Micro Suelo. So, yes, kung kailangan nyo ng kausap.
Okay, JP, ikaw, do you want to plug anything?
Okay. You can add me on or you can follow me on my social media accounts. You can follow me on my Facebook page. That's JP Ocat, all capital, or John Paul Ocat Official. We can have discussions there, or you can also reach me through my Instagram account. It's Jampong, ITSJAMMPPONG, and I'm more active there. Also, if you need anything, if you need to know more about mental health, or you want to ask me things about my experience, because it always comes from experience that I'm able to relay my information. So feel free, lang. Feel free. I'm always here. I'd be happy to discuss.
Okay, thank you so much, Gianna, JM, and JP for joining me tonight. Siguro my final takes would be how malayo pa to. I mean, there's more work that needs to be done. I hope people learned a lot from you. So thank you so much for watching this mental health initiative, and hopefully Sana maulit pa 'tong ganitong klaseng talk, maybe on
Sure.
another topic naman.
Of course.
Okay, so thank you so
Thank
much and
you.
have a great
Bye, guys.
night.
Have a great night.
Bye. Thank you, JM.